Hello everyone and welcome back to KORR Monsters, this time in Salinas, California for the third event of the 2003 season. Our field of trucks this week features Before It Breaks Car Parts driven by Marc Moody, Busted Knuckles driven by Christian Holt, the debut run for Comet driven by Fred Moore, Flyin High driven by Henry Gibbons, the competition debut for Howler driven by Kinsley Parks, Rat Trap driven by Randall Boone, Reckless Red driven by Opal Baxter, Risky Business driven by Slater, The Banker driven by Jamie Steele, and Tonka driven by Phil Butler. Now for our racing bracket, we'll start off in round 1 with Comet going up against The Banker. Then we'll see Tonka going up against Rat Trap, Busted Knuckles going up against Howler, Risky Business against Flyin High, and we'll end off round 1 with Reckless Red versus Before It Breaks Car Parts. Now our first race was scheduled to be Comet and The Banker, but Comet could not make it to the line, so therefore The Banker will be moving on into round number 2, as now we have Rat Trap versus Tonka, with Rat Trap having the early lead at the first jump. Coming around turn number 2, Rat Trap keeping the jumps low and keeping the turns tight. One more turn to go, and it looks like it'll be Randall Boone and Rat Trap moving on into round number 2. In our next race, we have Howler going up against Busted Knuckles and Christian Holt, who's celebrating 20 years in the sport with that beautiful gold livery. As the trucks are underway, and it looks like a pretty even race so far after the first jump. Of course, this is also the competition debut for that Howler truck. Brand new truck debuted at finals going into the last turn. Howler is ahead. And it looks like it'll be Howler moving on into round number 2 over our 2000 Freestyle champion. As next up we have Flyin High going up against Risky Business. Waiting on the green, Risky Business with the jump. And the early lead as well. First one to the second ramp, or the first ramp. Coming around, Risky Business still with the lead. One more turn to go, and it looks like it will be Risky Business moving on into round number 2. A little bit of a bobble, and Flyin High gets in trouble at the end, brings it back down, as now we move on to Before It Breaks Car Parts versus Reckless Red. Both trucks away pretty even. This is a good race so far. Looks like Before It Breaks Car Parts has the early lead. And they are still neck and neck with one turn left to go. It's going to come down to this. Oh, and it looks like Reckless Red missed the ramp. The officials called Reckless Red missing the ramp, so Before It Breaks Car Parts will be moving on into round number 2. As you can see the matchups here for round number 2, it'll be The Banker going up against Rat Trap, Howler versus Risky Business, Before It Breaks Car Parts going up against Fast Loser Flyin High. As now we get ready for our first round 2 matchup, we see The Banker for the first time going up against Rat Trap, who leaves hard. Brand new suspension set up on Rat Trap from what we've been told. But this is a race so far. The Banker's right there with him. Going around to our second jump. Looks like Rat Trap is pulled ahead by about a truck length. Maybe a bit less than that. Last turn. Come to the line, and it looks like it will be Randall Boone and Rat Trap moving on into the next round. Gets up on 2 wheels. Brings it down back onto all 4 wheels. As next up we move on to Howler going up against Risky Business. As Risky Business gets a little bit of a jump. But it looks like Howler has made that jump up. They're pretty even at the first jump. Coming to the second jump. And it looks like Risky Business is taking the lead back. Coming around to the final turn. Who's it going to be moving on into the semifinals? Looks like Risky Business as Howler gets in trouble. Up and over goes Howler. Rips the front end out of the truck. Unsure if they will be able to come back for freestyle with the amount of damage that that truck appeared to have. As we move on now to Before It Breaks Car Parts versus Flyin High. Before It Breaks Car Parts with the early leave into turn number 1. Oh, and Flyin High hits the pole immediately. That's a 3-second penalty for Flyin high. He has a lot of ground to make up if he wants to win this race. And he's made up some of it, but he's got to make up a lot more in this final turn, or if Before It Breaks Car Parts makes a mistake. And indeed, it'll be Before It Breaks Car Parts moving on into round number 2 because of that penalty from Flyin high. And going into the semifinals, it'll be Rat Trap going up against Risky Business, and Before It Breaks Car Parts going up against Fast Loser, the Banker. So now we have our first semifinal, Rat Trap versus Risky Business. For the first spot in the finals, Rat Trap with the huge wheelie and the huge leave on Risky Business. Over the first jump, Rat Trap with a huge lead. Little bit of a bobble there from Rat Trap, still a huge lead, getting bigger, last turn. Oh, and Rat Trap hits the pole. Rat Trap hits the pole. That's not a big enough gap. Risky Business is moving on into the racing finals here in Salinas. As we get ready for matchup round number 2, it'll be Before It Breaks Car Parts versus the Banker. Light goes green, the Banker with the jump. And it'll be even at the first jump. Coming around turn number 2, it looks pretty even still. And indeed, they are even at the line. It's going to be a photo finish. At the line, it'll be the Banker moving on barely, maybe half a tire gap win. It is going to be Risky Business and the Banker in the finals. We are going to have a first-time racing winner here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As the light goes green, both trucks leave at the same time. Even at the jump, the first time around, Risky Business pulling ahead a little bit in the turns. Banker makes it up on the straightaway. Final turn. At the line, too close to call. Looks like the officials are calling Risky Business wins racing here in Salinas over the Banker. As we look at our freestyle order now, we're going to be starting off with Comet, Risky Business, the Banker, Before It Breaks Car Parts, Flyin high, Howler if they can get that truck put back together, Rat Trap, Tonka, our 2000 freestyle champion Busted Knuckles, our 2001 freestyle champion Reckless Red will be rounding us off. And to start us off, we have Fred Moore in that 61 Chevy C10, the Comet. Starts us off with a hit on the rollers, gets some decent air off of it. Lines up for the fan stack next, gets a little bit of a wheelie going over it. Nothing coming off of it, hits the backside of the racing lane. Looks like he's going to line up for the van stack on the other side of the track. Tried for a slap wheelie, did not get it. So now he looks around for his next hit. And he goes off the roller on the other side of the track. Halfway through, it's not a bad run, but we expect better at this level of competition. It's the racing lane, not a lot of air. Back to the backside of the racing lane. Good sky wheelie off of that one. 20 seconds left in the run. Take this backside of the red lane. Another good sky wheelie off of it. And it looks like he's going to wrap up now with some donuts. Not a lot for the judges there. Oh, it looks like he's going to keep going a little bit. Another hit off the red lane. That might count towards the score, as it'll be a 19 from the judges to start us off here with freestyle. As next up, we have Henry Gibbons in Flyin high. Looks like he's going to start us off with a backside hit on the red lane with a great sky wheelie. Almost completely vertical. Get some good air off that van stack. Gets another sky wheelie on the backside of the blue lane. And going right into some donuts afterwards. Much more momentum in these donuts than Comets. And now hits the big van stack. Gets some good air off of it. Goes after the roller, gets some more good air off of that. Looks like he's lining up for the far van stack. Good little wheelie over it. Goes for a slap wheelie. Does not quite get it. Almost gets into some trouble there. Brings it back onto all four wheels. So he lines up for the backside of the blue lane again. Does not get a sky wheelie off of it that time. 15 seconds left on the clock, going back after the elevated red van stack. Tries for a slap wheelie again and is not getting it out of that truck. Only 5 seconds left on the clock. Time for one more hit. And airs it out off the red lane. Good hit to end on. But he is not done. He's going to keep going. Gets some good air off the roller closest to the camera. Looks like he's going after this fan stack as well. Good air off of it. And he's going to call it there. 23 from the judges. As we move on now to Jamie Steele in the banker. And they're going to start off with that far van stack. Good hit to start with. Gets a slap wheelie out of it. Across most of the track. So biggest wow factor to start so far. Good hit off the red lane. Thought they were going to combo it up into the van stack, but looks like they thought differently. Goes back to the backside of the red lane. Gets some good air off of that. Lines up for this van stack. Just kind of rolls over it. I think the truck is shut off. No, they're going backwards over it. Reverse move from Jamie Steele in the banker. Not a move we see that often here on KORR Monsters. So that should score really well with the judges. Gets some good air off that roller. Whips it into some donuts. Almost flips the truck. I hope this crowd likes donuts because everyone's giving it to them tonight by the looks of it. 12 seconds left. Goes after the elevated blue stack. Goes for a slap wheelie off of it. Does not quite get it. Jamie Steele and the bankers giving the judges everything they could ask for. Time has expired. We'll see what the score is once Jamie's done running. It looks like they're going to park it up on the van stack, and it'll only be a 23 from the banker. I thought the judges would give them more than that, but apparently not. As next up, we have our racing winner, Cliff Slater in Risky Business. Starts off with a combo move, hitting the racing lane, then the van stack. As you can see, the top three scores on the bottom right. Good elevation off the red lane there for Risky Business. Combos it up into the van stack. Goes after the elevated blue stack. Gets a good hit off of it. I don't know if they ever actually touched the van. Now they line up for the van stack close to the camera. Gets a good hit off of it. Goes right after the backside of the racing lane. Pair of good hits there. Now going after the elevated red stack. Huge air off of it. Rough landing though. Looking for the next hit. Going after the other elevated stack. Not as much air, but did go over it crooked. That might score with the judges. And now Risky Business going into some donuts. Picks up the inside wheels. Just a couple of rotations. Goes after the blue lane. Gets some good air off of it. Only a few seconds left in the run. Gets some more huge air off the racing lane there. Time expires. Scores should be in any second, but we won't see them till after Risky Business is done running. As we get some more donuts. And it'll be a 21 from the judges. Not really sure what they're looking for tonight, but apparently it wasn't that. As next up we have Marc Moody and Before It Breaks Car Parts. Starting us off, very similar. Hit on the blue lane, combos it up into the van stack. Looking for the next hit. Gets some huge air off the roller. Biggest roller air we have seen so far. Goes after the elevated red van stack. Awkward hit, but gets a slap wheelie and combos it up into the van stack on the ground. Going into some donuts? No. Backside of the blue lane. Gets some good air off of it. Not really sure if we're going to be seeing any more sky wheelies off those stacks with how beat down they are. Big air off the far van stack. About 30 seconds left in the run. This is a good run so far. Also crosses up that blue stack. And combos it up into the other elevated van stack. Not really sure what the judges are going to do with this run. As we get more huge air off a roller. For Marc Moody and Before It Breaks Car Parts. What's he doing next? Crossing up the elevated blue van stack the other way. As time expires, Marc Moody's still going. Gets a sky wheelie off the backside of the red lane. And now it looks like he's going into donuts as well. Around and around he goes. Now back after the near van stack. Marc Moody does not want to stop run. Cross threads the elevated red stack. Smokes the blue van. Looks like the truck is shut off now. 26 from the judges. That blows into the lead. As next up we have Randall Boone in Rat Trap. With the penalty in racing, we can expect an aggressive freestyle from him because he's not happy about that. As he starts off with a huge slap wheelie across the track. And I think I saw a pair of campers out there as well now. And indeed, there are campers in the red lane. As Randall Boone attacks this course. Getting good air off of everything. Another slap wheelie. Almost dragging the bumper on that one. And now we see some Rat Trap Cyclones. Will he keep it on all four? And it looks like indeed this time he will keep it on all four wheels. That is never a guarantee with this truck. Goes after the elevated blue van stack. Gets some good air off of it. And another slap wheelie. Almost got into trouble with the other van stack. Good air off the blue lane. 25 seconds left in the run. Have to imagine this competes for the lead. Jumps over the campers, didn't even touch them. And combos it up onto the van stack. If I'm a judge, I don't know how this doesn't take the lead. Huge air off the red stack. Biggest air of the night so far for Randall Boone and Rat Trap as time expires. Sky wheelie off the backside of the blue lane. Looks like he's going to call it there, and it ties for the lead with a 26 from the judges. As next up we have Phil Butler and Tonka. Starts us off with an elevated hit on the red stack. Drags the bumper across half the floor. Gets a good hit, a little crooked in the air off the van. Combos it up on the backside of the blue lane. Now going back after the elevated red stack, gets some more great air off of it. And combos it up on the van stack again. Looking for his next hit. Looks like he's going after the elevated blue stack. Gets some good air off of it. And combos that up into the other van stack as well. So it's combo move after combo move for Phil Butler and Tonka so far. And more huge air off the red lane. Or off the red van stack. Biggest air of the event so far. Now it looks like he's going after the campers. Just kind of rolled over them. And he's stopping now. What's he doing? Oh, he's going through the campers in reverse. Phil Butler and Tonka with the reverse move through the campers. I was saying earlier we don't see reverse moves that often. We have 2 of them this event. One of them went through a pair of campers. 5 seconds left in the run. He's going into donuts. I have to imagine this is going to be almost a perfect score for Phil Butler. I'll be shocked if it's not. As he gets more great air off the red van stack, drags the bumper, shuts the truck down, only a 27 from the judges. So it does take the lead, but there's a lot of room left on the top. As we have Christian Holt and Busted Knuckles, our 2000 Freestyle champion, up next, our second to last truck. In this beautiful gold 20th anniversary livery. As he gets to work on his track, I don't know how he's going to top what we just saw, but he's going to have to try, and up and over he goes. Christian Holt up and over too early. It's going to be an 18 for Christian Holt and Busted Knuckles. Not how you wanted that run to go. As we have our final truck now, 2001 Freestyle champion, Opal Baxter. Reckless Red goes through the campers to start us off and gets into some trouble, but keeps it on all 4 wheels. As you can see, the scores to be a 27. Get some big air off the blue stack. The judges left a lot of room at the top, and Opal Baxter is looking to use all of it. Get some huge air on that van stack. That is just cars on the ground, and she got that much air off of it. Goes into some donuts now. And she is attacking this floor like she is possessed by a demon. Huge air off the racing lane. Biggest air of the night. Gets a little bit of a slap wheelie out of it as well. Oh, gets crossed up on the van stack. Goes back through the campers again. I know I said Tonka should have had a perfect score. As we get more huge air from Opal Baxter. I have got to imagine if Tonka didn't get a perfect score, Reckless Red will. Huge air to end out time from Opal Baxter. And she is not done just because the clock is done. More air off the van stack. Combos it up. Will she stop when this truck flips over? Or is she going to be nice to her crew and keep it on all 4 wheels? As she goes into more donuts on the other side of the track. And now she crosses up on the red van stack. Hits the far van stack, gets into trouble, goes over. Can't save it. It's going to be a 28 from the judges. Somehow not a perfect score, but it is a winning score as Opal Baxter wins freestyle here in Salinas, California. As Tonka gets second with a 27. Rat Trap and Before It Breaks Car Parts get a 26. The Banker and Flyin High get a 23. Risky Business gets a 21. Comet gets a 19. Busted Knuckles gets an 18, and Howler, who could not get the truck back together in time for freestyle, ends up with a big fat 0 on the scoreboard. After what has been what I think might be the greatest event we have had in KORR Monsters history, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you join us next week in Minneapolis for another event. We'll see you then.